Half of the vegetables that you are told to eat are not vegetables at all. They are fruits. So please, don't get turned off by artichokes by eating the leaves. Eat your peas and corn, succotash. This is probably some of the most poisonous foods my parents were giving me as a young kid. I forgive them. I'm Dr. Stephen Gundry, your guide through the world of nutrition. It's time for another flavorful journey on gut instincts. As children, we were all told to eat our vegetables. But do all vegetables offer the same benefits? I'll be ranking these common foods from S to F. S stands for superfood, and F means it belongs in the trash. But before we jump in, remember to hit that subscribe button and like this video if you're ready to boost your gut health. All right, first up, beets. So beets are interesting. They are a root vegetable, and root vegetables in general have some really cool health properties, but they don't call them sugar beets for nothing. They're loaded with sugar. So here's the deal. Eat beets like Italians. They actually shave beets raw, then sprinkle some feta cheese or pecorino or Parmesan cheese, and then pour olive oil on them. Why raw? Because you can't digest the sugars out of the beetroot very quickly. When you do that, they have tons of polyphenols, they have tons of fiber. So I'm going to give them an A with the proviso that you try to eat them raw. The beet greens are equally as good, and you don't have to eat them raw, but you can put them in salads. Let's be clear about this. Half of the vegetables that you are told to eat are not vegetables at all. They are fruits. Anything with seeds are a fruit, not a vegetable. There are some really mischievous fruits that we call vegetables, and one of those are the pepper family. Peppers are a nightshade family. They are loaded with lectins in the peels and the seeds. Traditionally, Southwest American Indians used and grew peppers, but they always charred the skin, peeled the skin off, took out the seeds before they ate them as peppers. Do the same, but please don't put raw, any kind of pepper in your salad, on your pizza. Peel and de-seed them. You'll never open a jar of Italian sweet peppers and find peels and seeds. They're gone because they've been made safe. If you don't do that, they're an F. All right, how about broccoli? Broccoli is part of the cruciferous family of vegetables. The flower of the cruciferous family looks like a crucifix, and that's actually where the name came from. Now, it's also called brassica vegetables, and these guys are loaded with some compounds that actually tell your immune system lining your gut not to be worried with some of the foods that are coming through the gut. We also know that these can really help promote cancer cells dying. So broccoli in all its forms, cruciferous vegetables in all of its forms, really is a superfood. How about carrots? Carrots are another part of the root vegetable family. And root vegetables have great fiber in them, great carotenoids, that's that orange color, and they actually have some really cool bacteria in them that improve your gut microbiome. But once again, eat them raw, because when you cook them, you make all of those carbohydrates easy to eat. So I'm going to put those with the beets. They're really good for you as long as you eat them raw. Asparagus. Hey, it's asparagus season right now. Asparagus is also loaded with a prebiotic fiber called inulin. Inulin is one of the favorite foods of gut buddies. Fun thing, next dinner party, half of us have a gene that makes an enzyme called asparaginase that gives that really funny smell to your urine. I have that, my wife doesn't. But it's great for dinner table conversations, and it really starts the party. So asparagus is another one of those really superfoods that feed your gut buddies. Garlic. Garlic is one of the superfoods for so many reasons, but it has a very interesting compound called allicin. Garlic, onions, scallions, all improve and repair the thin lining, sugar lining that lines your blood vessels called the glycocalyx. There are beautiful human studies showing that eating garlic, eating black garlic, eating aged garlic dramatically improves the lining of your blood vessels. Once again, garlic is a superfood. Okra. Now I know, you either hate okra or love okra. And people who hate it, it's slimy. People who love it know how to cook it so that it's not slimy. Okra has compounds that actively absorb lectins, those little troublemakers in, among other things, peppers. So the more okra you eat, the better off you are in protecting yourself against these compounds. In fact, okra is part of my compound and lectin shield that absorbs lectins. The way to enjoy okra is to bake it on a sheet pan, and there's recipes on the YouTube channel, and eat it like chips. It is phenomenally good. It's crispy, and you won't get that gooey flavor. It's also a superfood. Eggplant. I'm sorry, eggplant is part of the nightshade family. Yes, you could peel and de-seed eggplant, but there's not much left when you're done. So it also belongs in the trash. Sorry about that. Mushrooms. Mushrooms are part of the fungi family. They're a completely different kingdom. You should know that you and I share more DNA with mushrooms than with any of the plant family. Now, the cool thing about mushrooms in general is they have sugar molecules that our gut buddies think are some of the most delicious things they've ever tasted. And you read about mushrooms improve your immune system, they improve natural killer cells. It's actually these complex, what are called polysaccharides, they're the reason everything gets better. So mushrooms are great, with a tiny proviso. The humble button mushroom, the white mushroom, actually has a very interesting toxic compound. Large numbers of my patients have sensitivities to the white button mushroom. The other ones are fine. The crimini, like this, those are fine. So mushrooms are also a superfood with a proviso. Please, if you're going to eat the white mushrooms, cook them. Cooking destroys that mischievous compound. Okay, cucumbers. Cucumbers are not a vegetable. They are a fruit. They have seeds, and they are loaded with lectins. A large number of my patients react to cucumbers. Now, interestingly, in France and Italy, cucumbers are always peeled and de-seeded when they're served to most people. They take off the peel, they core it, and then they slice it. And you'll see that all the time. Why? Because people have learned through the years how to detoxify this. Because it's a fruit, it has far more sugar content than vegetables. And the last thing we want in our diet is sugar. So cucumbers, unless you peel and de-seed them like this, are no-nos. Speaking of no-nos, this is a potato. Potato comes from the New World. The problem with potatoes are that they are primarily pure sugar. And the more pure sugar you eat in your diet, the worse you get. So potatoes, sorry. So before we go on, how about a quick quiz on the potato? Now here are 2 facts and 1 lie about potatoes. Can you guess which one is the lie? Potatoes are a nightshade vegetable. You can mail someone a potato with their face on it. Potatoes are the only vegetable that have never been grown in space. All right, so what's the answer? Did you think it was 2 that you could mail someone a potato with their face on it? Well, you're wrong. You can actually mail a potato with your face on it, and here I am. I guess I'm now Mr. Potato Head. The actual answer is 3. In 1995, potatoes were actually the first vegetable to be grown in space. Okay, back to business. You want potatoes, you are going to get sweet potatoes. Sweet potatoes are not any relation to the humble white potato or the other potato. Sweet potatoes come in orange colors, yams in general come in kind of white colors, and then there's the purple or blue sweet potato that is famous in Okinawan. Interesting fact, the ancient Okinawans prior to World War II, 85% of their diet was the purple sweet potato. So sweet potatoes are really great for you with one proviso. There's still a lot of starch. And I have many of my well-meaning patients know that they are lectin-free, but they're not aware of how much carbohydrate they contain. So I'll see in my patients' blood work evidence of high triglycerides, only to find out that they thought sweet potatoes were so good for them that they had them virtually every day. Yeah, they're not potatoes, but just be cautious. Do it a few times a week. More of the brassica family, cauliflower. I could go on and on. Cauliflower is another great super vegetable with the proviso. Be careful about cauliflower pizza. Be careful about cauliflower something. Look at the ingredients list. So many of these products have the word cauliflower. You hear Dr. Gundry say, wow, cauliflower is a superfood. And there's 10 other ingredients that take that humble super vegetable and turn it into trash. You want to eat whole foods, and you want to eat them whole. Once you kind of grind them up into fine powders and mix them with other things, that's not a whole food anymore. Another great root vegetable, radishes. I can't tell you how important radishes are in the scheme of things of root vegetables. The best thing about radishes is they don't contain much sugar. So they're going into the superfood of the root vegetables. The humble pea. The pea is the legume family. Peas have some of the worst lectins I have ever encountered in people. But wait a minute, I see all these products on the market with pea protein, healthy plant pea protein. The reason you're seeing it is that peas are incredibly inexpensive to grow. And they are loaded with protein, but they're loaded with lectins. So they're duping you into thinking that peas are a health food. Peas and pea protein down on the list. I'm going to use two altogether. So scallions and onions. Onions and scallions also contain these really cool compounds that are in garlic that feed your gut bacteria, that tell your immune system that good things are happening and not to be worried about the food. Interestingly enough, a number of my patients have sensitivities to white onion, but they don't react to the red or the yellow onion. Most of the time, if you want something that's not as pungent in terms of onions, you're much happier getting the red or the yellow. And the red actually has a very potent polyphenol and anthocyanin. These are great added to salads, but just be cautious about white onions. So I'm gonna put these guys right up here. If we had room, garlic and those guys would all be together. Artichokes. How many times do I tell you how great artichokes are? Artichokes are loaded with this prebiotic fiber called inulin. They're in primarily the stem and the crown, the base. I'll tell you a hilarious story. A number of years ago, I was visiting my sister and brother-in-law in Indianapolis, and we went to a very famous restaurant, and the first course was an artichoke heart. My wife and I are from California, and we know we eat artichokes all the time, and we know you peel off the leaves and you kind of pull off this little bit that's at the end of the leaf. I can't tell you the number of well-meaning people who tried to eat the artichoke leaves. There was a lot of complaints in that restaurant that night. So please, don't get turned off by artichokes by eating the leaves. Otherwise, it's one of the great foods that you can eat. And the great thing is, these are now artichoke hearts. Baby artichokes are frozen in lots of stores, and so don't be afraid of them. How about corn? I grew up in Nebraska. I'm a corn husker, and I can tell you that this is one of the most deadly foods that you can eat. First of all, I learned early on that the way to fatten a cow for slaughter, they were fed corn to fatten them up. They were fed corn to marble their beef with fat. If you want to gain fat, eat corn. Corn has a lectin that's really deadly. In fact, corn was so deadly that even the Native American Indians who developed corn knew that you had to treat corn with lye to remove the hull from corn and turn it into pasole or hominy. And then you ground up the hominy and made it into masa harina flour. And you made the tortilla out of that. No smart individual would have ever eaten corn without this nixtamalization process. So this corn husker throws corn in the trash. Finally, Brussels sprouts, another part of the cruciferous family of vegetables. All the things about broccoli, cauliflower, and Brussels sprouts apply. They're better and better and better recipes for making Brussels sprouts tasty and friendly. So don't be afraid of Brussels sprouts. So now for a quick recap. Let's see what we got. All right, so the cruciferous vegetables, fantastic. Garlic, onions, scallions, really cool properties that feed your gut bacteria and keep your blood vessels clean. Okra absorbs lectins. Asparagus, wonderful prebiotic fiber called inulin. The root vegetables, radishes, beets, carrots, eat these guys raw, please. Mushrooms, watch the white button mushroom, but get more mushrooms in your diet. They're a great source of melatonin, by the way. Artichokes, sweet potatoes are really good for you, but just don't overdo it. And then the really bad guys, the nightshades, the peppers, the eggplants, the potatoes. Cucumbers are a fruit. They're not a vegetable at all. They're loaded with lectins. Peas and corn, eat your peas and corn. Succotash, this is probably some of the most poisonous foods my parents were giving me as a young kid. I forgive them. Stay away from these foods. These are not health foods. And that is my gut instinct. Thank you for joining me on this journey through the world of vegetables. Remember, your gut health is the foundation of your overall well-being. So choose your foods wisely. If you enjoyed this episode of Gut Instincts, don't forget to subscribe and hit that like button. Let me know in the comments which vegetables surprised you the most. Remember, eat smart, feel great. I'm Dr. Gundry, and I'll see you in the next video.